Today at Let's Talk Marketplace, we talk about
how fashion brands can react on the changing phase of the marketplace landscape,
why new markets such as Eastern Europe and new marketplaces such as Fashion Days might be worth a look,
and our partner and guest Tradebyte offers some exclusive sneak peeks into the ECD event on the 12th of June in Munich, and a special gift for our listeners right at the end of the episode. Have fun listening.
Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid and Valerie Dichtel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Marketplace in English. It's great to have you all back, and it's also great to have you back. Ingrid, did you enjoy your little Easter holiday?
Oh, very much indeed. Thank you. Which is why you had to open this episode today, Valerie, because I'm not quite ready to take the helm yet. Just too stuffed on great food and Easter chocolate and my husband's outstanding Good Friday trout. That's really... a really good one. So thanks. I had a lovely few family-focused days, so painting Easter eggs and stuff, and tending to my daffodils and tulips in my garden, and recharging. So what did I miss? Because yesterday I did a first new scan. Not much happening. So it seems that great parts of the marketplace industry were on holiday too.
Well, I also had some family and friends time. I cooked octopus with my grandma and other than that.
That's not like a very traditional thing for Easter, is it?
No, but she was like, "You're cooking such good octopus, let's do it together." And I was like, okay. Let's do this. And then I read a book about taxes and prepared me for our company building. You know, founding is so interesting. When you study, then you talk about company structures and forms, and I was like so bored when I studied. I was like, who needs this? And now I have to decide which company form I choose, what it has for advantages and disadvantages and future risk and possibilities. And now it's not boring anymore. So yes, my Easter was full of learning about company building again, because it's not my first one. And so therefore holidays might be true for the industry as a whole, that it was like holiday. But in our own little marketplace universe, a lot has been happening. And that's why our next project is very nearly on its way.
Oh, do you really want to give away the surprise already?
Yeah, well, a little sneak peek won't hurt, will it? So after all, our very own newsletter is nearly finished, and Marketplace Universe Weekly is almost ready to go.
Yeah, almost ready. Let's not count our chicks before they hatched, my dear. But yeah, we just decided on the title of it, so nearly ready. So I think, a little sneak peek. Very soon you will be able to subscribe to our weekly newsletter, which brings you everything we do at Marketplace Universe in one place. So the Marketplace news, our deep dives, the latest Marketplace quadrants, and all the perks and goodies we collect from our sponsors, and of course the latest episode of Let's Talk Marketplace.
All delivered weekly to your inbox. Going to be good.
Yes, but not yet finished, so stay tuned.
You're always like, that's not finished yet. So absolutely.
But it's not.
Yeah, but it's like in a very, very good way.
Yes.
So now enough sneak peek. Let's welcome today's guests, Stefan Röttger and Alexander Otto from our partner, Tradebyte. Hey, welcome.
Hello. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Hello to this post-Eastern podcast. Would love to taste the octopus, Valerie.
Yeah, that was the reason why I did it for my grandmother. She was like, it's so good.
I'm sure you missed something. Right, so great to have you both here today. I think it's fitting because just 2 weeks ago in our last English episode, we talked about the current state of affairs in the marketplace business for fashion and shoes. And of course, Tradebyte is like expert in these categories. And there we talked a lot about how insolencies and closures and the general push for profitability and premium assortments have changed the marketplace landscape in the last year. But we didn't have much time to talk about what fashion brands should make of this new reality. And this is what we want to talk about with you today. But before we get started, some introductions are in order, I think, Valerie.
Well, yes. So I would love to hear first from you. What is Tradebyte? So I put together 3 sentences and you can answer it both. So first of all, who are you? Stefan and Alex?
Who we are personally, or Tradebyte?
You personally.
Personally, okay. I'm Stefan, 36 years old, 8 years now at Tradebyte. I'm leading the brand or merchant-facing business at Tradebyte, meaning everything, brand related, from talking to new brands about a potential collaboration with us, driving success for our customers, but also project management integration is on me.
Yeah, to me, Alexander, but call me Alex, that's absolutely fine. Leading everything around events and external communications at Tradebyte in my 7th year right now. And interestingly, I thought about a fun fact, right? So we had that, or about my person. And what many people don't know, I started as a nurse when I was a young man looking for my way into business. I was a nurse at a hospital and enjoyed that time. And sometimes you still need the skills you learned back then. I can tell you that in a public event, when somebody faints, I'm there.
Absolutely. That's very good. Very good.
Okay, now I know already, Alex, what you do best, right? Because this was my second question. What is your
people back to life?
Wow.
If they have to go on your stage, you mean? So what is your personal USP?
Well, I start off maybe now because I don't always let Stefan take the first step. Well, personal USP is basically, it has to do with the ECD and stuff I'm doing there. I think what I'm able to do is bringing people together, right? It's a bit like you do in your marketplace universe. And so the Tradebyte universe, so to speak, has a really, really large, huge community of people who are absolutely willing to connect and to do something. And sometimes I feel like this is what I'm able to do to kind of find the right moment, the right atmosphere to bring them together to not just have a good time, also, yes, to foster businesses and stuff, but mainly to, make it comfortable and less feeling like a business meeting. Maybe this is it.
Mm-hmm. Stefan, what are you good in?
What I'm good in, I'm sports addicted. And I mean, I always wanted to work in sports. Now we work luckily closely with some sports brand. But I permanently try to get this passion for sports also to my team. That means I'm permanently bringing them to the Alps or now organizing some football match. So really trying to get a bit the positive energy and spirit of a sports team into the Tradebyte team is, I think, something that I personally stand for. I'm not a nurse, but I'm married with a nurse. Maybe this also counts then.
Good enough.
Okay, great. So if you hire someone, they need to be sportive.
No, they don't need to. So we are very inclusive when it comes to not being sportive. So I think last time when we were in the Alps, we also had some that for the first time ever have seen mountains. But so we are very inclusive. We find the right path for each and everybody. So no worries about this.
Nice. So what are you looking forward to most professional this year?
I think Alex, spoiler alert, of course it's the ECD in June, 12th of June. I think this is something we're all looking forward already. It's just 3 months to go. No, it's less. It's 2 months. 2 months to go in a bit. This is the event for us where we are meeting all of our customers, a majority of the brands plus marketplaces, and just having a good time. We already were quite active in Q1 with a lot of face-to-face visits, and for me this is at least the energy booster this year, as we see a lot of brands also quite willing and open to discuss new opportunities again this year.
Yeah, I also got asked already quite a lot, like, hey, are you going to the ECD? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. So, Alex, what's your highlight of this year, or what are you looking for?
I mean, I couldn't say anything else right now, right? It would be,
that's true.
Maybe summer vacation or whatever. No, of course, it's the ECD in professional life. This is a very special thing we have there. It's not a little gem anymore, but I think it's a gem in the event space of let's say European events. It's special for many reasons. Maybe we'll come to that later. And this is what I'm always looking for the most. This is such a moment of the year, such a highlight with meeting so many people and being able to stand there and open this up. This is just one of the best feelings I'm having in my professional life, I must say.
And Alex, are you already also planning some global ECDs this year?
Yes. Well, another spoiler alert, we can announce it as well. We're going to have another ECD in London this year, the ECD Global on the 23rd of October. Not just came back, it still feels like that. I've been to London 2 weeks ago to seal the deal with the location, and kind of it's written in stones now. We're going to do this, and we're going to start promoting it also in April. So we're coming back to London with the show, which is also very nice. So we have two ECDs and 2 highlights this year to look forward to.
Very cool. Right. I have to get into you fashion people for a minute, because there might be some people in our audience who are not that familiar with Tradebyte yet, or with the ECD. So one short sentence, what does Tradebyte do? How do you earn your euros?
Yeah, we are kind of an integrator specialized on the fashion industry. That means we support brands to technically integrate to various marketplaces, mainly in Europe. And on top of the technical part, we also provide services, meaning human, that support our brands to best sell on marketplaces, but also the same for retailers, to support retailers to find the right merchants for their assortment. So in a nutshell, we are the bridge between the brand side and the marketplace or retailer side.
Yeah, this is exactly to bring the ECD in here in that moment. What the ECD does in person as an event then, bringing the brands and retailers together to connect and to find new opportunities for doing business either on already existing customer relationships or finding some new ones. And maybe one thing, because also we're doing this in English today, right, means we are also very international, became more and more international throughout the last couple of years. So we're at the ECD, for example, we are also recognizing more and more international guests and visitors, close to 100 now, which is 1/5 of all visitors that are coming. And so does Tradebyte, right? We're operating in 2 countries with 2 entities, one in Germany, the headquarters in Ansbach, and then in London and Cheltenham in the UK, which automatically brings us onto an international landscape. Then together with the international marketplaces, we work with Zalando, About You, you name it. They are operating in so many countries, and so do we. And that's really also a very interesting and a nice and attractive thing to work with Tradebyte on this international scale, right? This is something we are very, very, we enjoy it a lot.
Okay. So I have to lean into my professional curiosity, because Alex and me are colleagues of sort, as he's the creator of the program of the ECD and I'm the creator of the program of the Marketplace Convention. So, of course, I watch what he does very closely. So, Alex, a little more fodder, please. Who's the speaker you're most proud of this year? Come on.
Well, that's a bit of a pity that I'm not yet allowed to say this.
Oh, come on.
I was working on this. Yes, we had our first conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I said I might be able to present him or her, but I can't. This is still like some things to discuss, I must say. But
okay.
I'm personally, I'm sorry for that. I don't want to spoil the party here, but I really looking forward to having Donna D'Artusen on the stage, for example, the former VP of Fashion and Beauty from Otto, who is just a wonderful person and speaker and knows a lot about the industry, worked for Wecam, worked for Zalando, and for Otto as kind of an European person is really interesting to talk to. And just before Easter, I got the confirmation of Mimi Sewalski, who you know very well, Ingrid. She will be there, and which is very interesting because as CEO of Avocado Store, they are lately joined the platform group, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so very interesting kind of relationship to talk about. What does it mean, and what is the development here? We will have one of the managing directors of Limango also, because it's a bit about those niche marketplaces and kind of local heroes we're going to talk about later on. So that's the ones I have for sure. And I'm not kidding now, there are 8 pending, waiting for the final decisions or final meetings. Every day now. So maybe if we do a LinkedIn post in 2 weeks' time, I can tell you some more.
Okay, that's going to be a hot few weeks for you now, I think.
Absolutely.
There's still 8 pending. Ooh. It's one of those moments for a curator where, you start sweating a bit. But going to be good. All right. Okay, so thanks for that sneak peek into the program. And we are all staying tuned for what comes in the next weeks from you. So before we return to the ECD later in our conversation, and of course, when we turn to our main topic, let's have a look at the news of last week. But before we do that, we'd like to tell you a little bit about another interesting marketplace event, which will take place in exactly 1 week in Berlin, organized by our partner Amsel. Valerie, have you ever heard of the Amazon Late Night?
Well, yes, I was a speaker at Amazon Late Night already a few years ago when it was online happening. But this time it's offline and about true connection. Sounds like some kind of party now?
In a way, yes. The Amazon Late Night by Amsel is an evening event in German, full of Amazon input and networking and good drinks, I'm told. So the organizer is the Amazon agency Amsel, and they are doing the late night event for the 8th time now, I think, on April 11th in Berlin. And they invite everyone who wants to expand their Amazon knowledge and connect with other Amazon experts.
Okay, sounds pretty nice. Are there speakers too?
Well, the main idea of the event is networking and connection, but there are always a few chosen speaker slots as well. And this time, the main event is definitely Christian Otto Kelm, one of the best-known Amazon experts in Germany. He's also my go-to contact whenever I need input on an Amazon story. And he'll be talking about Amazon PPC.
Well, okay, great. Christian is always worth a look, I would say. So how can people attend the event?
The event is free for attendees, so all you have to do is register with Amsel. I'll include a link to the event in the show notes. You can also look up the event on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, we will put both also in our LinkedIn articles. So great. If Amazon is part of your everyday business, and if you're in Berlin on the 11th of April 2024, be sure to check out Amazon Late Night by Amsel.
Absolutely. But now let's really have a quick look at the news of last week. Newsflash. Which weren't a lot, actually, because it seems not only I have enjoyed my Easter holidays, but as I said, large parts of the industry too. But there are some, 3 interesting news bits that I would like to discuss with you. And the first concerns the German boulevard newspaper Bild.de, which is the largest newspaper in Germany. And they have started their own online marketplace last week. It opened with 30,000 articles from 50 sellers or so far focusing mostly on home and garden and furniture and home accessories, electronics, pet articles, that sort of thing. And, Bild.de should be on the page an interesting platform for sellers because the newspaper has some 19 million online visits daily, so that's huge, actually. If the marketplace would be listed prominently on Bild.de, which it isn't so far, it's rather hidden. And the start seems to have been a little bit bumpy too, with lots of products already out of stock. So I think it is an interesting project, but I'm not yet sure what to make of it. Valerie, what do you think?
Well, I think that's like maybe, interesting to have a look in. Bild has a big reach, but this marketplace came a bit like out of like a pop-up, like, now we are here.
Check
we started.
The box. Yeah.
We didn't say anything. I was like, no, okay. I don't know. I'm not really believing that this will be a big thing, but yeah, I heard that you are doing some investigations on it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get an interview with the chief of marketplace there. It's not yet confirmed. Let's see what they say. Have you been following this, Stefan? What do you say about that?
Build is an interesting example because I remember a couple of years ago already that we had some brands integrated and built in a bit of a custom way, but more out of the sports
in the
sector.
Shop, I guess, and
yeah, exactly. It was in the kind of was a shopping destination on Build.de as well, but mainly on the sports side, which actually makes sense if you think about the sports reach of Build. The new one, we're obviously observing the market, but also curious to see how it's developing. It's very early to say how this will develop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they still have to answer the question, why should a marketplace succeed when their own shop didn't? Because it was closed down a few years ago. And
exactly.
Quite silently, actually. So, looking forward to more information on that. Let's see how that turns out. Right. What else do I have? Allegro. Allegro started their online marketplace in Slovakia last week, the Polish marketplace, and they have already successfully launched in Czech Republic last year, and other Eastern European countries are to follow this year. So they said. If you want to hear more about this, I recommend our episode 51, I think it was, where we talked about Allegro more. So now in Slovakia, Stefan, what do you say about Allegro as a marketplace? Is that interesting for your customers? Are you already having contacts there?
It is, and I think it was also communicated just a couple of weeks ago that we are again starting our collaboration with Allegro. As you already said, we are quite fashion focused, though we see that especially in the area of basic articles for many brands, especially international brands, Allegro is a very interesting destination. Also to further grow in Eastern Europe, which is one of the core expansion topics at the moment. So I think it's a very good choice. On the one hand, look at Allegro, but also not only Poland, but also further countries that are developing.
Yeah. And also what I would like to add is even though Allegro is maybe not the fashion destination for sports, it's pretty interesting already. So, Tradebyte is focused on fashion and sports and some other categories, right? So I'm really glad because I heard a lot of fashion brands also hey, we're thinking about Allegro and kids fashion and stuff. So, glad that you are rebuilding the connection, actually.
Yeah. Maybe also a personal experience. I met the part of the Allegro team in Utrecht this year at the Webwinkel Wachtdagen. And I was so overwhelmed by their conviction and by their positivity and optimism to go out there. And they were full of energy and kind of all over the place. It was just... you pick the ones you want to meet, and some just standing there and at these big fairs. But they were they seemed to really radiate that they want to do something, and I really picked up that energy. And now we're seeing a go live in another country within a couple of months, and a lot of plans, a lot of strategic, important plans that they set in motion now. It's just wow, I must say.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of power behind that team at the moment. Right. And the last news bit I brought today is about Galaxus, the Swiss marketplace belonging to the Migros Group. And regular listeners might remember that in our first episode this year, we made a few predictions about the development of the marketplace business, which included a few steep theses at the time. Among other things, I posed the question there of whether Galaxus Germany will survive the year or not, because the marketplace is growing strongly, but maybe not strongly enough to justify the huge costs for the expansion into Europe for Galaxus. And now, last week, the Migros CEO, Mario Irminger, has publicly stated that Galaxus is having strong discussions about the extent to which it wants to remain active in Germany. And the way he phrased that sort of reminded me of the way when politicians tell you that one of their colleagues has their fullest confidence, it's often the first step to, pushing that person out of office. And it had a bit of the same energy. I'm not really sure, but to me, it didn't feel like a good sign for Galaxus Germany. Any thoughts on that on your side?
Ooh, yeah, I mean it's tough. Of course, if you look at Switzerland, Galaxus is in a very strong position. We have also various brands integrated on the German side. Though the GMV overall is of course not on the level. Curious to see how this is developing. I think overall in Germany we have seen a certain. Of course, we've seen various marketplaces closing down the last year due to high competition. And the question is, can you compete with the big 4 or 5 in the German-speaking area, especially in Germany now?
Yeah, and how much do you have to push to achieve that? Yeah. Right. So that were my news for today. Nothing else actually interesting happened. So we can just go over to the topic of the week, Valerie.
Topic of the week.
Okay, I would say let's dive right into it. If you listened to our episode 55 2 weeks ago, you may remember that I did another update to my marketplace quadrant for fashion and shoes, which shows the most relevant B2C marketplaces for this category in Europe. We talked a lot about the multiple changes to my graphic due to insolvencies, bankruptcies, and also Stefan already said it, and another reason for closing platforms. I removed Klinge, Galeria, Mirapodo, My Toys, Catchin, and Gertz, for example. And the future of Farfetch, Globus, KaDeWe is still shaky. And apart from that, other news also make the marketplace game in fashion more complicated. For example, Yoox is drastically slowing down expansion and tightening the onboarding rules. So it's much harder than before to get in, as well for Zalando. Trendyol has also become much more picky, we hear. And of course, the same is true for Zalando, who are focusing on quality instead of quantity, and were last year focusing on premium luxury assortment, and this year on more kids and sports. So our conclusion was that business is tough in the fashion marketplace industry, especially last year was really, really tough. And Stefan, let's talk with you a lot about brands and what's their take on the current situation? Do they perceive it just as tough as we do?
I think overall, of course, as the market slowed down, it's the priority has shifted from a very growth-focused mentality towards a profitable growth-focused mentality. And this is, last year we had the day before the ECD, our first brand advisory board. So we invited 10 brands into one room and discussed a bit the current topics. And I remember very well, Bessel is standing there in front of us and trying to draw the target for 2023 and forward, which was finding profitable growth. And I think this is overall the challenge for brands. And to achieve this, you can work on two sides, right? On the one hand, you can work on the cost side. So how can I reduce costs? And overall, if you look at marketplace business, naturally, highest cost driver are logistic costs. So return rates, how can I further decrease return rates? And I think it's especially with the marketplaces are investing also a lot, if you think about size and fit and some other initiatives that are running. Free delivery, so shipment costs are, of course, a driver for profitability. Where the marketplaces with fulfillment by, so you mentioned Zeus already, the last podcast, for instance, where these concepts, I think, become more and more attractive to brands in order to reduce costs and kind of consolidate stock in one warehouse, in one pool, to really make sure that you can run marketplaces as efficiently as possible. This is the cost side. Nonetheless, I think there's always still a look out or watch out for incremental GMV. So where can I find growth rates as the kind of established marketplaces are a bit slowing down? Slowing down still means that for many brands, they're growing. Some are also decreasing. This is clear. But I think overall, we still see that there are growth rates available. Some 1 digit, many also double digit. So it's okay, where can I expand? And I think this is what we discuss at the moment the most is what are the new marketplaces to go for? Where do we see great opportunities for brands to expand to?
Well, let's go into this. Where are those nice 2-digit growth numbers?
the nice shiny marketplace. Yeah. Okay. Unveiling now everything. No, I think overall, what is clear that, as I said, if you look at, and this I think also comes to the Galaxy discussion, right? So if you look at Central Europe, you of course have in our sector certain focus on Zalando, About You, Amazon, and also Otto, I would say. What becomes clear is that many brands are currently looking into a strategy to win with local heroes, or some call it local winners. So what do they mean? It's kind of specifically looking in other areas of Europe. I mean, it's a highly fragmented market and try to find growth patterns. I mentioned already Eastern Europe, which is extremely interesting. We talked about Allegro, but there's also fashion days in Romania and Bulgaria operating with a cross-docking model that is highly relevant for fashion brands. And of course, Trendyol, for instance, also shifted their focus from Germany to the Eastern European countries that are closer also to their home base, Turkey, which is Greece and Slovakia, for instance. So for me, Eastern Europe is one of the 2024 hot takes to mention here.
Yeah.
And maybe just to add from a brand perspective, right? I mean, brand as kind of also retailer or marketplaces as a brand. Coming back to Galaxus, so if we know now that the focus on local heroes, local winners, is one of the factors that you might be able to steer your business to, it makes sense to refocus on your core market, which is Switzerland, right? You're very strong there as a Galaxus. You are close to market leader Zalando. I think it's still Zalando some digits before in front of Galaxus, and then focus on this and just expand your what you can provide in your core market because you're strong there. So that's maybe something that pays into the fact of Galaxus Germany, whether it's continuing or not, nobody knows at the moment. But I also had that feeling, that Pep Guardiola feeling, saying this is a super player, Mario Gomez. 2 months later, he was gone. So that's a bit the thing. And
I think the sport allegory to my politician allegory.
Try to bring that in a bit more. No, I think this pays into the discussion of focusing because of profitability, because of your key factors that you have under control more. And so it's better to maybe focus on that in these times where things are just, let's not say bad, but complicated or serious or mature in the marketplace business. And that also plays a role to focus on your core assets, right? In terms of Galaxus, that would be one reason for me to do this decision maybe.
Yeah. What I would like to ask is we saw last year a lot of marketplaces closing down, right? And Stefan, you said that you have also you see growth in the marketplace business, but for example, My Toys, Klingel, they did really good turnover for some brands. How do they get back to this turnover? So how do they change this? So do they expand to new marketplaces? Do they grow the existing marketplaces they're already integrated with? What do you see in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at Klingel and My Toys, both have had also a very big seller base. So I think both have been very established, mature marketplaces with various sellers. For the majority of brands that I speak with, it's both have been a smaller part of the business, though it's still something that is missing on your top line. So it's about expanding, but it's really about diversification, I'd say. So really finding new distribution channels that can create something additional, or also where you can reach new customers. And this is at the moment, it's less in the German-speaking area. It's more outside of Germany, as we said. I think overall it's getting easier and easier also to go to Switzerland, but also to the UK, thanks to some service providers where also many marketplaces are opening up, like Debenhams, the Berry Group, also TikTok launched their shop initially in UK and now coming to Germany. I think it's mainly about the diversification. It's about finding attractive niche, and it's mainly about going for local winners.
Yeah.
And how does this go together with the other thing you mentioned at the beginning that brands are concentrating on, which is profitability, and which is how can I make my marketplace business as lean as possible? Because integrating new marketplaces and looking specifically for the local hero in each country, it makes a lot of more work for the marketplace team. So how does that get together, this idea of I have to reduce costs, I have to reduce complexity, and on the other hand, I have to go look for new things to explore, which might or might not work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that typical things a human being does when things get difficult. try to optimize processes, clean us, look at the infrastructure, maybe also do some adjustments there, think about replatforming. I think these are the classical things that you do when you feel you need to reduce overheads in terms of complexity, and that this is still happening. And I think also the role of a marketplace manager is getting adjusted from somebody who's mainly looking at expanding into new markets into really becoming a merchandiser, a profitable merchandiser of your assortment on a marketplace. Though, I mean, this is kind of the risk-averse side of things. Still, I personally believe you also need to look into opportunities and find ways to easily expand into markets that we just discussed about before going full speed into it. And full speed could also be then extending it with your own online shop and really finding new growth patterns. And this is still what we see, that brands are looking into new countries to be there on the top marketplaces, on the top 1 to 3 or so, test the market, and potentially then extend also the online shops and further operations into these countries. It's about finding a lean setup, really an agile setup that allows you also a low-cost entry into marketplace, into a new country.
If I may add something, and this might surprise because I'm the communications guy here, and I have to add 2 boring things, which is data and KPIs, right? So the opportunity of creating more and more data in no time at the moment with new tools arising. Let's not talk about AI deeply, but everything you can do either from a brand side or from a retailer marketplace side to know exactly what's happening in each and every moment helps to easier make a decision to whether you're going to try something out or not. And then coming back to profitability comes along with maturity, in my opinion, which leads to more defined KPIs in the marketplace business maybe than ever before, because you need this to set your goals and then kind of measure whether you achieve it or not in a smaller amount of time, right? And bring that together. And if it works very well, and that's the beauty of it, right? You can still be also in these muddy waters, very successful if you do your data homework, if you do your KPI and your strategy homework, and maybe be a bit bold and try and error, try to try new things out. Sorry, my English is bumpy now. And then you can still be very successful. But you have to do probably more homework than ever before in the marketplace business.
So that's quite interesting because, I did an AI workshop already last October and how to use this in the marketplace business. How is Tradebyte supporting their customers, like the brands who are integrated using your software to sell on marketplaces? How do you support them with like new tools, AI? Like, what do you offer there?
Yeah, the topic of insights is key priority at the moment. So we call it insights, meaning giving our brands more or easier data access, especially on top line profitability, but also top line performance, but also further drill downs into the profitability of articles. So this is at the moment our key priority in terms of product development. How do we support it? I think there is something to come. Stay tuned here as well. We can't communicate yet, but this is, I think that is clear that in order to also define the right strategy and make the right decisions, brand need more access to data. Until now, this has been super manual, and we're working on this. And of course, AI already plays now a big role, especially on the brand side, because at the end, still, I think some brands also rely on themselves. So we also asked exactly this question: how much AI would you allow in your business? And the majority of brands still said, okay, I see it as a recommendation, but not as approved. So I think also there we need some either educational work or find smarter solutions that AI really fully automates our operations here, but also the insights that we can generate for brands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see at some other competitors, for example, that they are like putting some AI solutions in parts of their middleware to use it. So that's quite interesting. So I'm really curious what you are working on. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, there are, I think, two key points that you can optimize. One is the entire product onboarding process. That is, to me, something you can do quite easily with AI, or let's say with a certain tool that learns and automates processes. Still, you might, as a brand, still want to define if this is now really navy blue or something else on your own, which you can do. And the second bit is obviously analyzing data and generating insights out of it that can then lead into a recommendation and action. And this is, for me, these are the key processes that can be supported by such a technology in our industry at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alex, are you going to have one of those boring KPI things on your stage on ECD? Trying my luck again.
Yes, I'm afraid I have to talk about this.
Of course you have. I will too.
Yes. Hopefully.
No,
these are
actually,
the most interesting ones at Marktplaats convention,
yeah,
right?
they were, and people were absolutely thrilled and sitting there with their mouth is open and listening to what you can do if you know your numbers.
What I think is, and this is really my opinion here, I think there won't be an AI panel on the ECD because I think it makes no sense to have it kind of as a software AI future discussion. Makes no sense.
No,
the ECD is always also, it works so well because we combine these topics with the actual daily stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's rather than in every panel discussion we're going to have, all these topics will kind of blend in and will be the foundation of, you cannot discuss without touching it. But for example, I had a really interesting guy from UK last year on stage who had this amazing AI solution for, I don't remember now because it's a really deep topic. And it was not the most interesting one for the audience, obviously, because it was kind of described as an AI topic. They rather want to hear some e-commerce leaders talk about it and how they integrate it in their daily business. So that's where the cookie crumbles, I think, and this is what we are planning, and this is also what will happen at the ECD.
And let me just add on this because it's to me also quite important. We've been out a lot in Q1 and discussed many challenges, opportunities, and so on. And AI as a standalone was not mentioned. It's mainly a solution to overcome challenges. And these challenges, or what brands want to see, obviously, is everything around product onboarding flows and so on need to be optimized and need to be more efficient, but also more transparent. And then, as I said, secondly, it's all about insights into performance. It's aggregating data from various sources. Just think about how difficult it is at the moment to get data out of the different retail media portals of the marketplaces. And obviously, this is again where AI has a perfect use case.
Yeah.
Right. Let's turn the discussion back a bit to the opportunities that brands that you've been talking to are exploring at the moment. Because in the beginning, you mentioned Fashion Days, for example. And this is the marketplace that has been popping up in our podcast here and now, but we haven't been talking that much about it. And I think for fashion, it's going to be a very interesting platform indeed. You've got connections there, so maybe you can talk a bit about that platform.
Yeah, it's an Eastern European platform that is, I think, Romania-based and opening up Bulgaria soon. They operate in a cross-docking model, meaning there's no direct shipment to the end consumer from the brand. You ship your stock to, I think, Bucharest, if I'm not mistaken. And as of there, Fashion Days consolidates the items and brings it then to the end consumer, which is especially, from my perspective, in terms of logistical costs from brands, very attractive. I think this comes again to, if we look at our core market here, Germany, of course, with free delivery and so on, it's difficult, especially for lower price points, to ship profitably to end consumers. While with such a model, especially in an Eastern European country, you can still generate profitable business. And this is really one of the marketplaces. I was very positively surprised about the interest that it generates from brands throughout the globe, I would even say.
Yeah, I would say, it's like also Fashion Days is for new on my fashion marketplace quadrant. And I was also like super surprised and also happy that there's finally one focused fashion marketplace in Eastern Europe next to Modivo in Poland.
Yep.
But as you can see, like Eastern Europe is growing more and more. But what else, Stefan, what else other marketplaces did you have, like new ones or were surprising you? What's like in the pipeline?
In the pipeline, what I just mentioned is obviously the Trendyol strategy update, I'd say, even though it was not so heavily communicated. There's, of course, also now a focus on countries which are closer to Turkey. which I perceive also as very interesting in terms of, to my perspective, they did a very good German business, and so it was surprising to us. But if you then look at the strategy and also know the competition in Germany to date already, and potentially in the future with the further Asian marketplaces coming in, I think it's a totally smart move then to go into countries like. Turkey, they're based, but Greece, Slovakia, and so on.
Yeah, super interesting because Greece has almost no marketplace.
No, exactly. And again, it comes also to my previous point. If you want to win with the local heroes, then Trendy will become super important for many of the marketplaces. Other than that, TikTok, I think we already touched on, right? And I think overall we see some further internationalizations of marketplace business at the moment. For Best Secret, for instance, I think ASOS has also expanded a bit their presence. So I think there are overall some marketplaces popping up. Not that many, obviously, that we would wish or might have had the last years. But yeah, I think overall it's a very interesting one because there are also some marketplaces like Miravia in Spain, for instance, that want to further grow, that have just launched last year. And you also know that the second and third year, usually it's the time then really to expand your business and onboard significantly more market brands. You have proven your processes, you're then also at full speed in terms of onboarding capabilities. So I think it's not only the number of new ones, especially the ones that are currently in their second year, for instance, where you can then really see higher growth rates.
Stefan, that's quite interesting. Can you tell us more about ASOS as a marketplace? Because it's really hard to get insights about it.
We know.
She's trying any way she can.
I'm having a flashback. I think we had this discussion.
Does anyone know anything about ASOS, please? Yes.
I don't know why you have a flashback. Cannot imagine.
I think we had this. No, I think what is clear is obviously that they are very projective marketplace with a very selective onboarding process. But it's a marketplace that is, I think, present now in a couple of European countries already, thus getting more and more relevant. And you also touched on the fulfillment buy that they're offering, which is for me always a positive sign that they want to also further expand. Otherwise, you would not open up your logistics to brands. But yeah, same like yours. I think there are marketplaces that offer more information and some that less. So maybe you should invite Chris to the next round then.
What happens at ASOS stays at ASOS.
Yeah, I have this feeling too for this marketplace. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think you've been to the ECD last year, and we had Chris Peduto on stage.
On the stage,
and, it was very nice to listen to him, but there's not a lot to call out because
he didn't say much. Yeah,
he's an amicable person, and I really love him. But it's just they don't talk about what they're doing. It's just a thing. And
I had quite a flashback listening to him actually, because I think 10 years back or something, a colleague of mine brought ASOS to the Internet World Expo at the time there at the Trend Arena, and she was really excited. Oh, I got ASOS and this is so great, and she paid like a hefty sum of money actually to get them. And then he was on stage and he didn't say anything, really nothing at all. And he was much better at at ECD last year actually, so he did say a few things, but it was still not very informative.
Thank you. I mean, I think we could do an own podcast episode about the UK market as such.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the players
it's on my
there.
list. Yeah.
To me, it's one of the most interesting markets. I have a lot of touch points there as I'm leading the international communications for Tradebyte, as you know. So a lot of conversations, and this is really maybe the most unpredictable one at the moment.
Yep.
It's between growth and TikTok and Shein coming in here and there, and the decline of these good old marketplaces and retailers. So there is so much happening in the UK, and maybe it's worth taking another look.
I think overall there's some question marks still, right? So ASOS is one question mark. You have the whole Southern European part. Miravia is one, but it's still a smaller one. You have with According Glass obviously a big retailer that somehow offers something, but sometimes it's not the question of I want to integrate, it's more or less can I integrate, and are also the processes are they possible from Central Europe in terms of returns and so on. So unfortunately, it's not always who is available. It's really a bit of a question of which setup is really meant to be there for various brands to be onboarded, or are we talking about a very customized one-to-one connections that you can always facilitate. So, I mean, you can do this, but I think we talk more about the scalable marketplaces that onboard 10 plus brands.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to look at the time a bit, but before we close this discussion, let's not walk around Shein, because this is like the main, well, one of the main topics that every European fashion brand sort of has to deal with. Yeah, what we're going to do with Shein, if they are opening their marketplace, are we using it? What do you do with the whole segment of cheaper products? Is there any chance to compete with them? How do you look at Shein, and how do you the brands that you're talking to look at them?
I mean, first of all, before maybe Stefan can go deeper into business operations here, I think you also saw the recent numbers that were shared via Exciting Commerce, that they crashed potentially, nobody knows for sure, the 45 billion GMV mark. So they are on top of everything, Zara, H&M, Zalando, you name it, within 4 years. So this is just, besides everything that might happen, the impact of the money that they are bringing in, that is made on that platform. This is, I think, a dimension we have never seen in Europe before. And that, I think, that alone changes something, the way you approach, the way you kind of also react to that investments and that come from the Far East, so to speak, not the European East. And that's really interesting to see what is happening, because it seems to be very, very, very successful. So you cannot look away anymore and maybe be a bit like, we are the established ones here, let's see what happens. No, it happens right now. So this is just maybe point number one, right? It's bigger than ever, right? Just having that said.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a highly interesting one, and I'm so glad is the wrong word, but I'm excited that players like Shein or also Temu are there, that we have something new to discuss, right? I think what is clear is that if you look already at to date, it's quite difficult to sell articles profitable below a certain price points on marketplaces. Shein and Temu, they demonstrated it somehow possible, but I think Central European brands are having a hard time to fight against them. And it's also not new that marketplaces try to establish themselves with a lower price point. I mean, Zalando had some project, I think, already a couple of years ago. Then you had Trendy also with a bit of a lower price point. So it's not new that there is, of course, a space below the traditional price points that we have in Europe. I think what it makes already now is that marketplaces are looking at higher price points, and we see a bit of a shift towards premium articles, also on Zalando, for instance. But then you also see the higher price points opening up to marketplaces like 24S, for instance. I think there is already a movement towards higher price points and more marketplaces or retailers becoming marketplace in higher price points, which is already a good sign as well for us that there's further movement in the market. But I think it's clear that you have to closely observe what's happening there from various angles. I mean, there is, of course, the compliance look at this, and it's an interesting movement, of course. Something that is difficult for many brands also to compete with.
But how do they look at that, the brands? Are they thinking, okay, politics should solve this problem because of compliance things and stuff like that? Or are they looking to push their assortment up in more premium regions to and just leave the budget area to Shein? So what is the strategy there? Or isn't there any yet, because people are still thinking what to do?
It's so individual. I'm not allowed to say it depends, right? But it's highly individual. And just coming back, as I said, we have this brand advisory board, and we asked exactly this question: what do you see as the biggest risk and the biggest opportunity? And we had Shein or Temu on both sides. Some see it as an extreme opportunity, especially also to learn in terms of being more agile in terms of production of new articles, going away from this kind of seasonal approach. For others, it's a total risk, because if you're currently selling your articles at 30 euros and then there is a somehow comparable articles at 70% discount of this, of course you're getting into trouble. So it is highly dependent on the price point of the assortment that you're in. Also, of course, brand awareness. If you're a strong brand, I think you're not so afraid. If you're kind of less dependent on your brand, but more on the product itself, then you're getting a serious risk there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't want to be the unfair player, but I would say we already spent a lot of time. But you should stay till the end because we have like a bonus for you for the ECD.
Yeah. Well, let's go over to that, Valerie.
Yeah. So if you want to attend the ECD on the 12th of June in Munich this year, you can get some tickets, obviously. But what we have as a gift for you today is we give you a 50% discount on the tickets. And you just go to the ecd-gate.com/open website, and then you get a code from us. It's called written and all in big letters, ECD-50-LTM. So you can, this is limited offer for just 5 tickets.
So be quick.
Definitely be quick. And if you are, or if this code is running out of tickets, then you can always ask Alexander Otto via direct message on LinkedIn or via email. He will respond to all of your messages. He promised.
Did I say that? Okay.
Yeah,
You did.
I think you said that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Rather
I
sure.
will.
I recorded it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's recorded. Okay. No, this is fantastic, and also thanks to you to give us the opportunity to talk about the ECD. And this is really, we do it with a lot of goodwill to give out some discount tickets. Be there or be square. It's going to be massive, the ECD this year. Yes. And so be quick, grab your 50% tickets and be part of this thing.
Did we say this on the 12th of June? Did we say this already?
I think 12th of June it is. Yeah. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I love it to be there. I think it's my 5th or 6th time already. I mean, Munich is a home run for me, but I really love to be there, and also happy to meet all of our listeners there. So thank you so much, Alex and Stefan. We talked a lot about today about the future of fashion and marketplace business. And I think we rounded up several interesting opportunities. And now,
well, a short sneak peek to next week. We in the next German episode, we welcome the uncrowned sneaker king Stefan from Body Team as our guest. And in 2 weeks' time, you can listen to us talking in English to the one and only Anna Nordlander. Looking forward to that. So until then, have a good week and goodbye.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.